History remembers Cleopatra as the seductress who ensnared Rome's most powerful men, Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. But what if I told you that was only part of the story? What if Cleopatra was more than just a beautiful face, but a political genius, a master strategist, and the last hope for an empire that had stood for over 3,000 years? Today we dive into the real story, the woman behind the myth. This is the untold history of Cleopatra. Cleopatra VII Philopator was born in 69 BCE into a dynasty already in crisis. The Ptolemies, Greek rulers of Egypt since the time of Alexander the Great, were plagued by infighting, corruption, and rebellion. Egypt was still a jewel of the ancient world, rich in grain, gold, and trade. But Rome was rising fast, swallowing weaker kingdoms whole. By the time Cleopatra came of age, Egypt's survival depended on a ruler who could outwit Rome itself. And Cleopatra? She wasn't like other royals. She spoke at least 9 languages, including Egyptian, something most of her Greek-born family never bothered to learn. She was educated in philosophy, politics, mathematics, and astronomy. She understood that to rule Egypt, she had to master both the throne and the game. At just 18 years old, Cleopatra became co-ruler alongside her younger brother, Ptolemy XIII. But this was no sibling partnership. The court was divided, and powerful advisors sought to control the throne. Cleopatra was forced into exile, but she didn't stay gone for long. She returned not with an army, but with a plan. Enter Julius Caesar. In 48 BCE, Cleopatra famously smuggled herself into Caesar's presence, rolled inside a carpet, or perhaps a linen sack, depending on which ancient historian you believe. Whether for politics or romance, the meeting worked. Caesar backed her claim to the throne, and with his support, Cleopatra defeated her brother's forces. Cleopatra bore Caesar a son, Caesarion, and traveled to Rome as his honored guest. She was the only woman to appear on Roman coins in her lifetime, a symbol of her status and influence. But this alliance came with enemies. Many in Rome saw her as a dangerous foreign queen, and her presence stirred political unrest. Then, in 44 BCE, Julius Caesar was assassinated. With her greatest ally gone, Cleopatra returned to Egypt. The Roman world plunged into civil war, and Cleopatra watched, waited, and planned her next move. Her chance came in 41 BCE. Rome was now ruled by a fragile alliance between Octavian, the future Augustus, and Mark Antony. Cleopatra sailed to meet Antony in Tarsus, arriving on a golden barge with purple sails, dressed as the goddess Isis. Ancient writers say the scene was so dazzling, Antony was struck speechless. Their partnership was not just love, it was strategy. Together, they envisioned a Mediterranean empire with Egypt at its center. Cleopatra financed Antony's campaigns, and in return, Antony granted her vast territories. But Octavian saw them as a threat to his power, and in 32 BCE, war was inevitable. The decisive moment came at the Battle of Actium in 31 BCE. Cleopatra and Antony's fleet was outmaneuvered by Octavian's navy. Their forces collapsed, and the couple retreated to Alexandria. The following year, Octavian invaded Egypt. Facing defeat, Antony fell on his sword. Cleopatra, unwilling to be paraded through Rome as a prisoner, chose her own fate. Legend says she let an asp, a venomous Egyptian cobra, bite her. Others claim she used a fast-acting poison hidden in a hairpin. On August 12, 30 BCE, Cleopatra died at the age of 39. With her death, Egypt became a Roman province. The era of the pharaohs, 3,000 years of history, ended with her. In Roman propaganda, Cleopatra became the ultimate femme fatale, a foreign temptress who destroyed great men. But Egyptian records tell a different story. She was a skilled diplomat, a brilliant linguist, and a ruler who kept Egypt independent for 2 decades in the face of Rome's expansion. Cleopatra's real power wasn't in her beauty, it was in her mind. She understood that in a world ruled by men, she could not outmuscle her enemies. She had to outthink them, and she did, until the very end. Cleopatra's story has been told and retold for over 2,000 years, in plays, paintings, and films. But behind the myths lies a woman who fought for her throne, her country, and her son's future. She wasn't just the last pharaoh of Egypt. She was the last spark of an ancient civilization that refused to bow quietly to the march of empire. So the next time you hear Cleopatra's name, remember, she wasn't just a queen who loved powerful men. She was a queen who was powerful,